All right, guys, I'm going to go through some definitions primarily in the PowerPoint, and then I'm just going to work through some examples in Math Excel for section 12.2. So in this section, we're talking about installment loans, and we're going to be calculating approximate annual percentage rate, APR, and an exact APR. Those are two different things. They're similar, but they are different. So pay attention when we get to the differences there. First of all, an installment loan. It's a loan that is amortized. Well, what does amortized mean? Amortized means a loan is amortized if both the principal and interest are paid off by a sequence of equal periodic payments. The actual root word is mort or morte, and that means to kill. So you're killing off the loan when you pay the payments, and each payment that you make includes both interest that has been accumulated plus some principal towards the loan amount. Examples of when you might use that are used cars or buying a car, buying a boat, home improvement loans, loan consolidations, and even real estate loans are amortized, but they're not considered installment loans. And we're going to be looking at the annual percentage rate, like I mentioned earlier, and that is created by what's called Regulation Z in the federal law. And Regulation Z is a federal law that standardizes how lenders convey the cost of borrowing to consumers. It also restricts certain lending practices and protects consumers from misleading lending practices. So that's also called the Truth in Lending Act, sometimes referred to as Regulation Z. And basically what this does is it allows you to compare two different loans that have different terms. For example, one loan might be 8% for 24 months, and another loan might be 7% for 36 months. You can use this APR, annual percentage rate, to see which loan is more cost effective for you. Some more information about Regulation Z, or the Truth in Lending Act. It requires lenders to disclose the finance charge and the annual percentage rate on an installment loan. So anytime you get an installment loan, you will get a page that explains or shows you what the APR is. And then you could go to another lender and get a comparison and see which one has the better APR. The lower the APR, the less the loan costs you to borrow the money. And there's a difference between the nominal or stated rate and the annual percentage rate. They might tell you this loan is an 8% loan, but then you calculate the APR and it ends up being 8.5 APR. That's because there are other costs involved in the loan that are calculated into the APR that are not calculated into the stated or nominal rate. Total installment cost means all the payments that you make, including down payment and monthly payments or whatever payment period you're using. Finance charge is the interest and any other fees that are charged to you to borrow the money. And so here's an example. Let's say you want to buy a new car. The price of the car is $21,250. You've got $5,250 to put down as a down payment. That means you're going to finance $16,000. And then your total cost or your total installment cost will be the monthly payment times how many payments you're making plus the down payment. The finance charge is all of what you're going to pay minus the cash price. And then the amount financed is the cash price minus what you put down as a down payment. So you're going to finance this amount. It's going to be paid over time using your installment payments. And then your finance charge is the total amount that you pay minus the cash price. So back to that previous example with the car, finance amount is $16,000. Maybe you're making monthly payments of $450 for 36 months. You would have to calculate to see what your costs were based on the number of payments that you're making. And then there, like I said, there's two things that we're going to calculate related to APR. One is the approximate annual percentage rate. It's not going to be an exact calculation, but it'll give you a ballpark figure as to what the actual cost of the loan is. And then the way that we're going to do that is 24 times the finance charge divided by the amount financed times 1 plus the total payments. And I'll show you an example of that when we get into the Math Excel assignments. And then we're going to find the exact annual percentage rate. And we're going to be using a table for that. And I'll show you that when we get into the examples. But in that case, you're going to multiply the finance charge by $100 and divide by the amount financed. So finance charge times 100 divided by the amount financed. And that'll give you a number that is the finance charge per $100. Then you're going to go to the tables and you're going to look that up on the table, and I'll show you how to do that when we get to an example. Let's jump into the Math Excel examples. So 12.2, this is number 1. It says find the total installment cost and the finance charge for an installment loan with these conditions. So the amount financed is $2,600. You put down a $400 payment, so the total cash price is actually $3,000. You're going to make 6 payments of $475. So let's see what those 6 payments equal. 6 times 475 is $2,850. But remember, you already paid $400 as a down payment, so you'll add that on, and you've paid a total of $3,250. That is your total installment cost, your payments plus your down payment. Then we want to find the finance charge. So your finance charge is the total amount that you paid minus the cash price. So $3,250 minus the cash price of $3,000, $250 finance charge. And you probably could have done that one in your head. Okay, I'm going to jump to number 4 next. Find the approximate annual percentage rate. Now notice it's the approximate. You got to pay attention when you're doing these problems. Is it the approximate annual percentage rate or the exact percentage rate? So with the approximate, you can click on the view an example and it'll show you the formula that I showed you in the PowerPoint. Maybe. There it goes. And the formula is 24 times the finance charge divided by the amount financed times 1 plus the number of payments. So let's work through this one. So they already told us the finance charge. That's $1,940. There's 36 payments. And remember, you're going to add 1 to that. So again, looking at the formula, it's going to be 24 times this 1,940 divided by the amount financed, 7,900, times 37, because we're going to add 1 to those payments. So going to our calculator, 1940 times 24. We're going to divide that, and I'm going to use the parentheses, 7,900 times 37. Remember, we have to add 1 to the payments. And we get this decimal, 0.1592. That's going to be the decimal equivalent. We want it as a percent, so if you want, you can multiply that by 100. And that gives you it in percent form. And the directions say round to the nearest tenth, so this would be 15.9%. Okay, now I'm going to show you number 6, but I'm not going to work through it. Just there's a heads up here. This is the exact same problem as number 4 and 5. They just lay it out differently. So you'll do it just like I showed you number 4. They just present the information in a different looking table, but it's the same process. Now I'm going to go to number 7. Right, now this time we want the exact annual percentage rate. It doesn't say exact, but it doesn't say the approximate. So we're going to be using the tables. You have this set of tables in your packet, or you can use the pop-ups. But we're going to go to the tables and find the exact annual percentage rate. So again, there's a formula that you need to know or use. By the way, these formulas are on the first page of the packet handout that I gave you. So we're going to take the finance charge divided by the amount financed times 100. So finance charge is $2,875 in this example. 2,875 divided by the amount financed, 11,500, and then times 100. We get this number 25. Now we're going to go to our tables. And we've got 42 months. Your first table in the pop-ups goes to 30 months. So we're going to have to use the second table. And that one goes, I think 60. Yeah, it goes up to 60. But we only need to go to 42. So I find number of payments 42. And then that number that I got on my calculator, 25, we're going to find the closest number to that in this row. So I'm going across here. I want to get as close to 25 as I can. And in fact, we can get exactly 25 right in this column. So now I go up to the top of the column and see what that percentage rate is, and that's 13%. That is the APR for this question. Now I'll be doing another example here in just a second. I'm going to go to question number 10. You'll see this again. So a company purchased a new precision metal lathe for $74,900. The company made a 10% down payment and financed the balance using 36 monthly payments of $2,375.27. Find the amount financed, the total installment cost, and the annual percentage charge. Then estimate the APR. Use the formula that they give you. Okay, so we're estimating the APR this time, not getting the exact. So first, the amount financed. Well, if it costs $74,900, you're putting 10% down. Let's see what that number is. Times 0.1. So you're going to put a, whoop, that didn't work. 74,900. I can't hit the right buttons. 74,900 times 0.1. 7,490. That's your down payment. Now write that number down because you're going to need it later. It's not our answer, but we are going to need that number later. So jot it down on a piece of paper because you're going to want to come back to it. But we're going to subtract that number from the purchase price, 74,900. So 74,900 minus 7,490. So that's how much money we're borrowing. That's the amount financed, $67,410. Okay, total installment costs. Well, that number that I told you to write down is the down payment, and you're making 36 monthly payments of $2,375.27. So we're going to go 36 times $2,375.27. And then we got to add in that down payment, which is the number that I told you to write down earlier, 7,490. And that's our total cost for this machine that we're purchasing, $92,999.72. How many cents? 72. Finance charges. Well, that's the total amount that you paid minus the price of the lathe. So the total price I paid is already in the calculator. Subtract $74,900. We get $18,099.72. That's how much you're paying in finance charges. 18,099.72. I think I remember that right. Now we want the approximate APR. Remember the approximate APR. So on your handout that I gave you with all your tables, it's got the two formulas there on the front page. So we're using the 24 times the finance charge divided by amount financed times 1 plus the total payments. So in this case, 24 times the finance charge, we've got the finance charge in one of our answers, this $18,099.72. I think that's in my calculator, times 24. And then we're going to divide that. And then I'm going to use parentheses, remember the formula, amount financed times 1 plus the number of payments. So the amount financed was 18,000. I'm sorry, that's the finance charge. Amount financed was the 74,900 minus the 7490 that we wrote down, which is answer A. So we're dividing this by that amount financed, $67,410, times, we made 36 payments, so we got to add 1 to that, so it's going to be times 37. Close the parentheses, hit equals, and we get this number, 0.174163. And then we multiply that by 100 to get it into a percent. So it's approximately 17.4%. Now I'm going to go to question number 10. I'm sorry, that was question 10. I'm going to go to question 11. A musician purchased a good quality electric guitar with amplifier and financed $3,600 over 12 months. The finance charge was $240. Answer parts A and B. Part A, the estimated APR. So that's what we just did. Again, if you don't know the formula, click on View an Example. The formula will be there right here. Or go to your tables packet that I gave you. It's the approximate. So in this case, our finance charge is $240 times 24. Divided by, and then use the parentheses, the amount financed times 1 plus the number of payments. So there is no down payment made on this guitar. You're financing the full $3,600 and you're making 12 payments. So you're going to multiply by 13. So $3,600 times 13, close the parentheses, equals, and then that we want that as a percentage, so I multiply by 100, and I get 12.3%. So it's round to 2 decimal places, so it'd actually be 31, 12.31. And then to get the exact APR, again, looking at our formula, here's the exact. We take the finance charge times 100 divided by the amount financed. Or you can do the finance charge divided by the amount financed and then multiply that answer by 100. It doesn't really matter exactly what order you do that in. So in this case, the amount financed is the full $3,600, and we need the finance charge, which they tell us is $240. So we're going to take 240 divided by 3,600 times 100. And then we go to our tables. In this case, we're making 12 payments. So I'm going to go to the number of payments, row 12. And the number that came up in my formula is 6.66 repeating. So in the row 12, I'm going to get as close to 6.6 as possible. 6.62 is the closest, so the annual percentage rate is 12%. And you'll notice the difference. The estimated or approximate APR was 12.31. The exact is 12. So the estimated is a little high, which is better to estimate a high number when you're trying to figure out which is the better price than to underestimate and end up making a bad financial decision. So that's how you find the two different APRs, the approximate versus the exact. So that wraps up the examples that I wanted to do for you. I will be back in class Tuesday. So if you have more questions, you can ask me then.